Hi, Jim. I'm Sarah from The Coming. Such a pleasure to meet you. I know that you'd already done the audiobook for the story, so you're obviously very familiar with Rachel's book. What was it like for you, though, taking on the character in a visual sense?
Having done the book, I knew the character fairly well because you do the book, you read it 3 times, I think, to read it to see if you like it, then you mark it up, and then you record it. So I knew it so well. Mind you, it was a few years before, so it took a bit of a memory. But I think when the script came through, I knew absolutely that this would be something I wanted to do. I mean, I think I said when we were doing the book, I said, if you put me in the frame on the list of possibles if you're making a film, so they did anyway. Because I knew Rachel from 40 years ago. We were in a play together when she was an actress. I knew I had a bit of an in with the writer, so that was good.
And what is it about this story that appealed to you then and appealed to you to do the film? And there's something so fascinating about this character, but not an easy one to play either, in terms of the fact that there's so much repressed about his past. And it's all simmering there underneath, and it's only as the story goes on that it all starts to get uncovered.
Well, that's what makes it so exciting, a lovely part to play, because not only he's got the journey, but he's got such an emotional journey to make. It makes a really interesting acting task, to start from someone who's quite limited and closed off and monosyllabic and not really engaging with the world, and then through the course of this journey, he suddenly finds he's talking to strangers, opening up to strangers. They're opening up to him, and he's attracting a lot of tension and enthusiasm, and the whole change. And then towards the end, I think he sets off on the walk, not knowing why he's going on the walk, and then it becomes clear to him really that it's not just to visit Queenie. It's to somehow face up to the grief of his son, the loss of his son. And that makes it a strong story, a very, very powerful, I think, to get through it.
And, what must have been some challenging moments, like from the physical side, because I imagine you actually had to do a lot of walking, but also, the scenes you share with Earl as David, your son, but also Penelope, because that relationship is so strained and the communication isn't there. So a lot has to be conveyed through other manners. So what might have been some of the most challenging moments, but on the other side, the highlights too?
Sorry, I missed the last bit.
The challenges, but also the highlights on set.
Yeah, well, so many. I mean, talked about the challenges of that, finding those dark moments and dealing with them, and the highlights. Just working with. I mean, wonderful actors. That's what I mean, and you're working together. It's always good to working on a film, the collaboration and the working together, and Earl and Penelope and all the other actors who came in just for one day or a couple of days, and all such enthusiasm and energy and creativity. That's what you remember. That's the delight.
And despite the fact that it does go to some dark places, there are some very uplifting messages about the fact that there are many kind people out there, and then the need for connection, and then it's also never too late to go back and uncover those moments in your past.
No, absolutely. I think it does go into dark places, but there's a you can't stay in the dark places. So in the course of the film, Harold and Maureen do find something to, in some way, ease their pain. At least they can be together and share their world rather than being locked off from each other. So that's a wonderful and important thing.
The other thing is, it's a great celebration of the UK, but sort of like the physical countryside, but all the various people that you can meet, and it's just like a good, cross section of modern Britain.
Yeah, it was great to see the starting off in Devon and the pretty little village, and then you get up to the industrial north, and then you get way up onto the moors, and it's and down to the sea at the end. And it's a sort of great moment to be sitting on a bench looking at the sea and the waves coming in, and it's a great way to finish the journeys, both journeys, all their journeys.
And you've obviously had such an illustrious career so far. How do you choose your roles these days, and what can we see you in next?
How do I choose my roles? It's all down to the script, and whether it's something is a script that's beautifully written and appeals to me, and it's something I haven't done necessarily before. It's something new about it, and who's involved, and where it shoots, and all those things. And if it pays well, so you just bear it all in mind in the chronological order. So we start at the beginning, and it's all in the writing of this rather arid, sterile relationship. So that started us off, and that's what it grew organically because we didn't have to do any particular research or background on it. In the script, we work in the same way. We got on so brilliantly. It was all easy and delightful. I loved towards the end, getting up on the Northumberland moors. That was in the wild weather. I love that, particularly after being in sort of some of the industrial bits in Yorkshire and those sort of areas, and then to get up on the moors and in the rain, and this is good. I enjoyed that. I hope they'll in some way identify. I don't know how to identify him. Recognise him in their parents, grandparents' generations. How he is, and maybe understand some of the problems that older people have in one way or another, and maybe how important it is to share and be kind to each other, all that. But I don't know if it'll really reach that audience or not. I hope so. I would think Gruber would be the favourite on that one. I don't know if the Harry Potter series. Yeah, I think they'll have brand new casts for that. Yeah, Harold's on his own, but he's in a very unhappy, stultified, bleak marriage with like Maureen, and they're not communicating, not getting on, they're existing. And then this letter from an old colleague comes. She's in the north of England and dying in a hospice. And he tries to write a letter to her, but he can't really get it right, so he tries to post it and he can't post it, so he just keeps walking. He's going to go and see her in person, and it's a 500-mile journey that he sets off on. And being on the walk, which is a physical journey, he goes on an emotional journey of his own, and a lot of things come up and happen to him, and it and ends up being a very revealing and healing journey in a way, but it's a difficult one for him to do. Rachel Joyce, she was an actress, she played my daughter in The Winter's Tale in Crucible Theatre in Sheffield, where the snooker is happening at this moment. So we were on that stage together, and she's been writing many years. And she had written to the audio. Thank you. Jumped at that. And I had in mind that I said, if they were ever making a film of it, bear me in mind. And she did. Yeah, well, I mean, it's quite a hard one in many ways, because a lot of it, I mean, I didn't get many days off. Sure. And stayed in more than 12 different hotels and all that. So it's a lot of travelling and changing and even going. So that was all quite a challenge. And a lot of days just on my own, being the only actor. In some ways, exciting and challenging, but also quite hard. But No, I knew it was a unique experience. Anyway, exactly, because it's a special unique thing to be doing. Well, up on the moors, or in Yorkshire, and power stations, you know, there, and then Devon, Devon countryside, I guess it was beautiful pictures, you know, it's the cathedral. It's just lots of lots of different special moments. You think, places I've never been. Yeah, so we're getting up on the moor and then getting down to Berwick. And Berwick was extraordinary as we arrived. Some wonderful sunsets. Then they were in the hall. But they, you know, suddenly felt that this is a special place to reach. And the scene. So there we are again at the sea at the beginning.